everybody. This is John with the Hometown Historian channel once again. So I'm here, I'm playing a little bit of Risk on my laptop. I was going to sit over at the Flames, but I'm just tired. My fibromyalgia has been a little icky. I just get that, like this time of year when you have the temperatures, like you have a couple days that the temperatures will be up near 60 and then it'll go back down to like 30 and it just plays havoc, let loose the dogs of war, I guess, in my system. So this vlog I want to try to keep a little more short and sweet, which that doesn't always work, but I do try. But anyways, I want to talk about, like, I'll have vlogs where I just sort of blah 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 about this and blah 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 about that. I'll have other ones that I'll talk about, for instance, like mail time or something. I do want to show, I do have 2 letters. I just want to, I'll quick go grab those towards the end. I want to thank those individuals. I have more cards that I got to go through and see which ones I might have not gotten to yet. I may wind up doing some over again, just sort of is what it is. But let me quick pause this, 'cause I don't want somebody to get mad and then they'll be like, hey, you have our song on here. That's a copyright claim. But anyways, so this vlog, like, I want to have my normal vlog, just sort of talk about the channel, some of the, I'm not trying to say here, some of the series that we just started, how they're going, update on what's going to happen this week. I am going to talk about a new series that we'll be starting. I have yet to get a name for it yet, which is sort of laughing because I was telling Cliff about it. And because I'm still sort of like, I don't want to say congested, but whatever's going on with my head, it's still the aftermath of this COVID stuff. I was talking to a couple other people, viewers, subscribers, that they got COVID too, and they have, like, months later, they still have this weird stuff that's happening with them that they didn't have before. Like my nephew right now, I feel really bad for him. Whether it's a result of COVID or it's something else, but he's having this issue with nausea, which I have issues with nausea, getting sick yet. Part of that might be the lisinopril cough yet. Part of it, though, is just a different type of nausea that I have. And then I have this head thing, like my right ear will close up, then my left ear will close up, and then I have this thing where I can feel it in my sinus. It's just bizarre, and in my throat, whatever. It feels like something's loose or whatever. It's just sort of gross, but anywho. I haven't been able to hack it up yet if there is something in there, but oh well. But anyway, that's enough about me. Let's talk about the channel. So one of the series we started was the America's Rail Stations. That series is going really, really well so far. I had the last station, the 3rd station, the Reading Railroad Station in Lebanon, I got to. I wanted to go across the street to the Cornwall and Lebanon station, and unfortunately I did not do that because, like with the fibromyalgia, like I'll get any kind of wind and it says like 30, 35. It just, for whatever reason, it goes into my fingers. It's like that really bad cold where it bites into your bone and then your fingers get that clammy feel, like it's sweating, and it's just brutal. And it just, most people, it probably, like I said in the video, this probably wouldn't affect, but for me, that's enough. It's time to go home. So I haven't had a video out for a couple days because the fibro sort of hit me hard. I get this sickness where I get like really sick and just don't feel well. I had one person, I believe Robbie, said I need to maybe possibly see a rheumatologist, and I'll have to talk to my doctor about that because I think you have to get like a reference that, hey, this guy, he needs to see the rheumatologist, and go from there and then see if we can figure something out. Like, I was taking CBD oil and that seemed to work really, really well for me, but because I'm trying to get this job at Londonderry Village, I don't know if something shows up. Maybe one of you guys know. Does CBD oil show up like you're smoking pot? Because I don't do anything like that, and I don't want to have anything, if they do a drug test, I don't want to have something come back and be like, hey, this guy's a pothead and we can't have him around old people. I don't want that. So I have no idea. I'll have to research it myself as well. I'm too lazy about researching certain things sometimes that are important. But anyway, so America's Rail Stations is going great. We started our Hometown Heroine, or Heroines of Hometown History, is still doing well. Cliff is also threatening to start a series like that. We were joking about that because he just did a covered bridge, Everhart covered bridge in Dauphin County at Fort Hunter, which was one that I covered. He was waiting for me to say something, and He's like, I just wait for somebody to say that. I was like, oh, maybe those big channels didn't come and steal my videos. It's a cool bridge, and I like to have a saying in the middle, inside on the bridge. I took pictures of with Instagram. It's a pretty cool, small bridge, but it's pretty cool that the lady that basically restored Fort Hunter Mansion Park bought this bridge, I think, for like $70, and it was in Perry County originally. I think it was in Little Buffalo State Park or something like that, but it was scheduled to be demolished, and she bought it. They restored it, put it there, and then I guess in the 80s they took it apart again to refix it up because it was showing wear. So not all the wood's original, but it's still cool that bridge got saved, because there's quite a few covered bridges here in Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania has the most covered bridges in the states, but a lot of them too are no longer with us. So it is cool. Anytime that you can preserve history, it's a great thing. The other series was Tales of Hometown History. That one, the first story on Robert Smalls, is going well, so I'm happy about that. Some of the things that we talked about with the channel, at some point, once I'm able to get myself back to where I'm regularly filming and I'm putting out films every single day, and we're back up to that stage where the channel's growing. So right now we're just sort of staying even keel, which is, I'm glad it's doing that, because I basically had a month and a half off except for a couple blogs. I kept you guys apprised of the situation, but it was pretty brutal, month and a half there, 2 months. So it is amazing that the channel has stuck the way it has, and that's a big thank you to you guys. I say thank you a lot, but I want to reiterate those thanks. Big thanks to Jay Fortner and Rebecca, who were both big proponents of the Find a Grave app, and we're also very forthcoming with all kinds of great information on the different videos. I always talk about Roger, who was very, very good. We're actually related. He was giving me a ridiculous amount of information, and it was cool, a lot of the connections, and then we realized, hey, we're actually related. But it was cool, all the information he's given me, and the talks that we've had and conversations over email and all that. I really say thank you to Concerned Grandma, to Robbie, to Kate, to Colleen. They always contact me, find out how I'm doing, and it's very much appreciated. To all you others who have sent cards and gifts and all that kind of stuff, it does keep you going. It really means a lot. I had a special thank you to Colleen. At some point, like, she's changed. I've talked about her Instagram, The Well-Grounded Life, was now Colleen Untarnished, because it's sort of dealing with, I guess she could potentially be starting a YouTube channel. So once she tells me exactly what's happening there, and it says go ahead and promote my channel, I'm going to promote her channel, because she's done so much for me. We're actually, one of the hometown heroines, she's going to be going to one of those locations and taking some photos for that video that we'll be doing at some point, probably not this week, but next week. Just because of the date and time that she's going to be going there. She was the one behind the viewer submitted videos, ideas, and stuff like that. Has sent a ton, and Kate has sent one as well. So that's been a blast. Thank you to Colleen. I will be promoting two other people, one that possibly is going to be starting a channel, and one other lady that has started one. We're actually going to be meeting up at some point in spring and doing a video together in Lewistown region, because there's some pretty cool Revolutionary War cemeteries. Yeah, I mean, it's, and if you have any questions in that regard, don't be afraid to send them. We're the thehometownhistorian at gmail.com is a way to contact. They're also on Facebook Messenger, that type of stuff. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I got to be a little bit more on top of things and get more of those Instagram pics over to the Facebook page. I tried to set it up to do that, and it said it did, but it didn't. So I have to be a little more on top of that. And also, I used to do like really smaller videos, like 1-minute videos or something, and put them on Facebook. So there was different social media outlets had a couple different types of content and that type of thing. And You know, it gets people, encourages people to go to those different sites because it's different information, different ways to communicate what the channel's doing. So once we get more to the stage where we're really back where we were when we were sort of really running fluidly, then I'll start looking at the whole Patreon idea. The merch store will probably be June, July, because Facebook's weird too, but YouTube is really odd right now. Like, it's very, very hard to grow. Like, you can grow, but you sort of have to hit that really extreme thing with, like, have one video that just goes nuts and get like 1 million views. Because I have a friend, his channel just went insane overnight, and he like has great content. And I want to do that video at some point that sort of talks about different folks, their channels, their Instagrams, how much I admire them, what's cool about them. So it's extra content. Go out, check it out. Because me personally, like, I don't feel like I'm in a competition with anybody. I'm just putting this content out. Hope you enjoy it, being real. And I always talk about, I want to make them that they're entertaining, that it's educational, and things of that nature. Because it's, it makes for a good community, within this. I do believe as well, one thing I'll tell you, Jay from JP Videos, I believe they're starting to try to get these YouTube content creator meetups going again. So once I get a little bit more information on that, it's a place where YouTube content creators like myself or Cliff or Jay or some of the other guys, other people that are doing this, meet up. And it's also a place where people that are subscribers, viewers can come. And it's always at a safe location. Usually we try to be something that's very family friendly, something that's safe, that type of stuff. And just a cool location, historical location, or something that's an event that the family can enjoy, those types of things. So now I'm hoping that starts up again, because it'll be cool to be going there not just as somebody that films with Cliff, but actually as a content creator now. So some of the things we talked about with upcoming videos, that Milton Hershey video that will be happening, hopefully maybe by this weekend. It seems like the temperatures are finally getting to the stage where it's going to be comfortable enough to be filming again regularly. So there's a lot involved with that series, and I want to do it right, because I think that's one of those things for the channel, is something that could really build the channel. So I want to do it well. This is part of the reason, like, I'm trying to do these different things with having the intro, outro videos, the music, that type of stuff, and just trying to do it like it gets more professional, get my editing down more. And as I get this new camera going, I want to get together with Kurt Lear at some point. It's a friend that he's offered. He really knows what he's doing. I'm hoping at some point too. We had, before the whole COVID thing started, there was a group of us that were going to revive a show that they had been doing previously called the Comics Panel. Really cool channel, a lot of information if you enjoy comics, if you just enjoy the artwork, whatever aspect of that. I feel it's an art form, but it's in essence, it's American mythology. You have these superheroes and stuff like that, and the movies do well, but the comics are what got everything going, and that's where the mythos is from. So we were going to a number of us were going to be writers. Kurt was going to film. And then we were going to have somebody, whether it was the one guy, Steve, was going to host the show, and then go from there. We're talking about, characters. We wanted to go a little more obscure, so you're not just talking about like Jack Kirby and Captain America and Spider-Man and things like that, but you're going a little more into characters that are less known, and artists that maybe people don't know quite as much about. And I think it was going to be a really cool show, and hopefully we can get that going again. But that's down the road, but hopefully not too far down the road. But one of the things, I had that Milton Hershey video that's coming up at some point here, and then a series on these different people of history where it would actually be several parts. I've talked about Jacob Albright and John Walter, the men that founded the Evangelical Association. Those guys are very important. I'd like to do a video on them, probably be like a two-parter. And then some of these other people that are considered the fathers of the American churches, the different denominations, Count Zinzendorf, the Muhlenberg dynasty, John Casper Stover, John Philip Baum, John Wesley, or I think it's Wesley. He's one of these down in like the Carolinas. I just saw some. My friend Ralph is on vacation right now, and he's down and he's one of these. I think it's Savannah. I think it's that, but he's wherever it is where they had a statue of this guy who's basically the father of the Methodist Church. So for America, but I think it'd be cool to do a series on that. I'd like to do a series on Mr. Reese, who started the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup company. He's a pretty cool guy. Connections there. My friend Josh, we were talking about the Mars family. I was just watching Food to Build America. That's a cool series, and they were talking about the father-son dynamic there. It's pretty brutal for the Mars company, but really pretty cool connections with the Hershey company and all that. So I think it's be a fun series to do at some point, to make that into a series as well. John Lick, James Lick, those are two characters I'd like to do a series on. James Lick is an extraordinary guy that did a lot of work. Like San Francisco became the city that it did because of him. He was a guy that gave a lot to the community and cared about people. Pretty cool dude. So I'm also going to film. I was down at the Reading Railroad Station in Lebanon, and unfortunately, because I got so cold, it just didn't. But there's a ton of stuff in that area, so I'd like to do this week. I'd like to get the video done for the Cornwall and Lebanon station, which was built by the Coleman family. They were an iron family dynasty. Very, very cool station. And right down the road is Salem Evangelical Lutheran Church, which is the oldest Lutheran church in Lebanon City, and is actually the first daughter church of Hill Lutheran Church, which we visited north of Cleona. And that church has, their first pastor was Frederick Augustus Conrad Muhlenberg. Say that 4 times fast. Good luck. But he became the first speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. He was actually, I don't think he was the founder, but he was the first pastor that they had. We had done at St. Luke's in Schaefferstown. He was the pastor there as well. Because a lot of these churches, they would share pastors. And we had done that series, or this, on the Pennsylvania Historic Marker. And we also talked about when we did the Old Union Cemetery at Frieden's Lutheran Church, the first pastor there was John Andrew Schultz, I believe, and his mother was the sister of this Frederick Augustus Conrad Muhlenberg. But that church is one of the first places that they read the Declaration of Independence. I believe also there is where they organized, like we talked about the Hanover Resolves, well, the Lebanon Resolves, which were whatever they were called. I believe they were organized right there. But there's a lot of really cool churches there within like a 10-block radius, because you're right at historic downtown Lebanon. So another idea I have is I'm going to do 2 different videos. Right across the street is an FOE building, which is the Fraternal Order of Eagles, which I had never heard of this organization before, but quite a cool history. Some pretty substantial members, and a few things that Josh's wife Sharon brought up, because a number of those individuals were presidents that were part of this organization, and they were also Masons. And I sort of always thought as well that Masons weren't allowed to join other organizations, which somebody can clarify that. Apparently they can, because I know Harry Truman for sure was a Mason, and he was a member of that organization. But pretty cool history. They were part of some pretty awesome social change that was for the benefit of people. They're an international organization. Pretty cool organization. So there's a building there, and I took on Instagram. I took a picture of a stained glass that has sort of an eagle, and yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And then right across the street, next to the church offices for Salem Lutheran Evangelical Church and for Salem Memorial Chapel, both of which are on the National Registry of Historic Places, is a building that has to do with the Masons. I don't know if it was a Masonic Lodge or Masonic Hall at one time, but it has a really cool stone facade. And then on the left side of the building, when you're looking at it, is a Mason symbol, so it has something to do with that. But I'd like to do a little bit of video into that, show you the architecture of a couple buildings right there. I want to start this new series which is going to be on city churches. I think Cliff thought I say, he's like, what did you call it? Your series is like city churches. He's like, oh, I thought he said something else. You could probably put that together, but it was sort of funny because I was like, what do you think I said? But then I was thinking about it, like, I'm so congested to some degree that it's what it sounded like. So, but it will not be called that. That series will not be called that. I don't have a name for it yet, but maybe you guys want to come up with a name, because like America's rail stations, the city churches really played an extraordinary, pivotal historical role, but also a role in the community. And a lot of these churches have 200 some years of history. Pretty cool. And when you have certain connections with our federal government like that, first speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, that's pretty neat as well. So anyways, so that's something that we're going to be doing. I'm going to be starting a playlist as well for the other church cemeteries that I've done that are more country, maybe call that like country churches or whatever. So we'll have that as a playlist. And I also want to have a playlist for the small like family plots. I had a couple offers out there for people that have some of these family plots on their property. So I'd like to get back to them now that my health is finally getting better here in March and April, and start getting to some of those cool family farm plots. Because they're really important, short videos, but pretty cool history to those. And a lot of times too, those people can give you a history on them. And when I do go out and get these churches, because like I said, in a 10-block radius, there's like 15, 20 churches in that area. Some of them are going to be put together because there's not a ton of history with them. But some of them, like this Salem Evangelical Lutheran Church, there's a ton of history with that. So we're going to cover that. The other video I want to do, since we're so close to downtown, I don't know if I'll get it done this week yet or not, but I do want to go right downtown because it's another like block, 2 blocks from Salem Evangelical, where the historic downtown Lebanon is, and maybe do like a 3-block, go up 3 blocks, come back down 3 blocks, and just show you all the cool architecture, like the Sandler building, which is sort of the building that they show for historic downtown Lebanon. And right down the street on 8th Street there is the Lebanon Farmers Market, which is where the old Lebanon County Jail was, which in our heyday 4 months ago, we did the Blue Eyed Six video. That was sort of a collab with me and Cliff doing the videos at the same time. We were thinking about potentially stopping there, because where the Lebanon County Jail was, that was where they held the Blue Eyed Six, and it's also where they executed them, where they hung them. That building no longer exists. The basement's still there, and that building, the new building, was built on top of that. But that building at some point burnt down. But it's very much like the Schuylkill County Jail, where it sort of got like a castle turn, and it looks like a castle. It was a bunch of jails were done like that at that time. But Cliff and I had done that with the Searching for History Pottsville. That was one of the first places we visited, was the Schuylkill County Jail. But very cool. So the new series there will be the city churches, whatever, like, why not calling that, or you guys come up with a name and we'll use that for that particular series. And we'll go from Lebanon to places like Reading, Harrisburg, and then all over the place. Some of the smaller towns, that type of stuff that has some pretty cool churches with some neat history, and talk about them. Then the other video that I'm going to do, which I'm hoping I can do this week, is the 5th station, but not yet a station, is in Lebanon, right where Lebanon Catholic was. It's now shut down. Is the Donnamore Station, which it was named after the Donnamore Mansion, which is right behind the Lebanon Catholic School, and that was named after the first Iron Master that Coleman put in place. Is Robert Coleman there was an iron furnace, I guess, that was originally there, and he brought the Cornwall Railroad down to where the station was then, and I forget what the guy's first name was, but his last name was Donnamore, and he became the first Iron Master when Coleman bought that iron furnace. So there's a lot of history there. There's also a history about military family. It's very important, the Patch family. The station no longer is in existence. That was across the street, or across the railroad tracks from Lebanon Catholic. because that was only, I think, 1949 or something when Lebanon Catholic was started. But anyways, that was torn down in the 70s. But the Cornwall Railroad's offices is a stone building that's occupied by Mellow Vending right next to the Lebanon Rail Trail. That's still in existence. It's a pretty cool building. So it sort of looks like it would be a rail station, but it actually was the offices. And the Cornwall Railroad, we'll talk about their history because they're actually a completely separate railroad from the Cornwall and Lebanon. It's actually an interesting story. They were both owned by Coleman family, or people, members of the Coleman family, created quite a bit of animosity between those two railroads because and Cornwall Railroad actually they didn't have their own station until this Donnamore Station was built. They had an agreement with the Reading Railroad. Reading Railroad, like these different railroads would say, hey, let's create a deal. We can use some of your tracks, you can use some of ours, and you just sort of have a pass-through type agreement. So we'll talk about some of those things. That's another video that's coming up here, hopefully this week. I'll probably wind up having another Tales of Hometown History. One of the things I saw with Ralph in one of his pictures is it talked about a group, I guess it was the first African-American unit in the Revolutionary War, was actually a group of Haitians. So there's a monument there that he was standing in front of. So I'm going to see what their story is. I'm going to bring that to you guys. I think it'll be a cool story to have, and it has to do with the Revolutionary War. Should be pretty neat. Probably do another hometown heroine. One of the things I'll explain there as well, I had one of subscribers ask me about, she's like, oh, one of the pictures I saw in the montage was Billie Holiday. She said it just seems sort of an odd fit because so far the people that I've done have been who you would consider heroes because they had very heroic actions, whether it was Mary Lindley Murray, Fanny Jackson Coppin, or Mother Harris Jones, or sorry if I have that wrong, but whether it's in the civil rights, in education, workers' rights, or helping to prevent the Revolutionary War from ending. Billie Holiday is up there. Pearl S. Bailey is another singer that is up there. I'm actually going to do a one on two vaudeville singers that are buried over near Newmanstown. They're not necessarily heroes, I think, in the classical thought of what a hero is, but they were heroes. And I'll explain the reason I say they're heroes is because, in that time period, especially like say Billie Holiday, Pearl S. Bailey was earlier. I think she was potentially as early as like the 30s. They were in a time when it was very, very hard for women to do a lot of the things. They didn't have the same rights, especially for African American women. As talented as Billie Holiday was, she did have a struggle with getting to where she needed to be. And if you think about, she was a hero to young African American girls who, when they saw Billie Holiday out there succeeding, doing well, attaining her dreams, it gave them the right as well to dream and dream big. That anything is possible if you put your mind to it. You can do whatever you put your mind to. So in that regard, they are heroes. And I think what little I do know before I've done my research on Billie Holiday, she did a lot of good things as well. So these people were able to use their avenue in media or whatever it was to be able to touch the world and to make a positive impact. And I think that is a form of heroism because I think especially in like today's society, you have so much negativity, so much superficiality. When you have something that's real, when you have something that has substance, when you have someone who chooses to use their influence for good, to impact the world and make it a better place and leave it a better place than they found it, that's heroic in a lot of ways. Because a lot of people are very self-centered and only care about themselves, and then you have these people who make an impact on others. So that's why she's there. And the same thing, like Tales of Hometown History, not all of them are going to be war stories or things of that nature. Some of them are just going to be whatever, just a cool historic story that made an impact. Maybe it's just in that hometown, because our channel is, to some degree, it's hometown history. It's not worldwide history. It's hometown history. It's the impacts that were made, sometimes on a small scale, but then rippled outwards and made a much larger impact. So that's sort of what we're here to do, and it's discovering things that a number of these series that probably aren't that well known. But anyways, with that, I'm going to get the mail time on the next video. I'll probably do a short, just mail time video sometime this week. Be a little bit of a filler video because I'm still not feeling great yet. I'm way better than I was, but I just sort of got to pace myself yet a little bit and try to take care. I got a few other things I've got to take care of personally. So it's one of those weeks where there's a lot going on. But anyways, once again, I want to say thank you to you all. Like, this channel is not where it is. It does not stay at the level that it was without you guys. And I really do say thank you. It does from the bottom of my heart. I do mean that. This has been the one thing through a really, really ridiculously hard year that has made my life really good. And that's thanks to you guys. So I really want to say thank you for your support. And then as these other channels come out, I'm really going to promote them because I think, honestly, it's the right thing to do. These are people not only because they contributed to my channel, but because they're good people. And it's weird in a way. You would think a lot of times, which I've had a number of friends that have been very, very supportive, but it's sometimes just a little weird. It's like when you start a small business, people aren't that supportive. Like, it's sort of like, well, you should just work a normal job or shit. If you think outside the box, people get weird about that type of stuff. And sometimes, like, these YouTube channels, people still don't fully understand. Like, is this something you can make a career of? Like, you're not going to be getting rich or anything like that. But especially for somebody like me who's handicapped and I don't know where my health's going from here, hopefully up. But you still, something like this is important. It's weird because the people that start out as complete strangers wind up being your greatest supporters and some of your best friends. And for that, I say thank you, because that is a gift beyond measure that you guys have given me, and it really means a lot. And with that, I want to say thank you once again. Thank you for continuing to go along in this adventure with me. And down the road, hopefully tomorrow, we will see you once again about town. Thanks, everybody.